of the existing barriers, which goes today against natural way of cooperation of researchers and institutions in Europe. So let's do that. Let's do that seriously, and we will very much open the possibility that this bottom-up, which would emerge anyway, would more flourish in Europe. So joint programming, I agree with you. It's basically the first step, and we should go further. But at least we have the first step now. And you know, it's a constant thinking and battle of how much should be European-guided, financed money, how much should be member states. With the joint programming and European research area, our idea is not to raise more money in the European funding and so on. Basically, the idea is that we would make from the money which is existing in the European Union, which is used in fragmented way, that it would be done more, that it would be used more coherent. So in a way, the logic is 1 + 1 of the money which we have should equal 3 if we do it in a smart way, which we many times don't do it. Just a few comments on ERC. I agree fully, and I would immediately sign the doubling of the money, don't worry. The thing we don't take it for granted, but take it that I believe that it's correct. But in year 2013, the budget which ERC will already have, that's agreed, will be 1.7 billion, and that's not a joke. That's already a serious money and serious institution. Second, about the framework program, because many times it is said ERC excellent, excellence, and framework program not excellent or not so excellent. Please. There is, I don't know if you are aware what are the results of the competitive calls, who is getting how much. New member states are getting out of the framework program 7 approximately 5% of the money. 5%. 95% it's so-called old member states. So the correlation which we have between how much the country at home invests to R&D and how much they are successful on EU level, it's extremely high. So it is certainly proving that it's not the real essence and philosophy behind. One could argue if the cooperation, which we are forcing as the way to the excellence, I believe it is. So we are the only program which is forcing that. And we always ask that we should give some European value added. While the rest of the money which is spent by the member states, it's of course, it's in their hands. They can follow the excellence as much as they want to. So that it would not sound so bad, this 5%. If you would compare, of course, if you would compare with the population, newer member states are 20% of population of the overall Europe. But if you would compare how much the newer member states are financing at home in the overall European investment in R&D, this is 2.8%. So these are the relations which one has to bear in mind. So actually, via framework program, they are getting more than actually they invest. But on the other hand, it is not fair to say that the competition on EU level is not tough and that it's not difficult to get to the funds. And we see for many newer member states that they have problems in getting through the calls and that their success rate is lower. It's also the case that in some member states, newer, they have much better results than in some of the old member states. So it's not a kind of flat situation. But the best recipe is help yourself and you will get also more from European Union, because that's the philosophy which basically works behind. But I just sometimes would like to level this discussion about something is excellent, the rest is not so. So the competition there, it's tough, it's high. We jointly agree about the programs which we have to do, and we seriously implement them. Thanks.
Thank you. So you put in a counterpoint to the idea of the illusion of excellence. We had a comment earlier today that in part it could be said that framework programs in general risk to incentivize mediocrity, I think was the phrase used, or at least I paraphrase it with some accuracy, which clearly you contest, because you're saying that there's very tough competition to access those funds.
This
it could always be better. That's what everybody knows. But what we try to do is truly to make an honest job in managing the funding. So if you ask, for example, evaluators, if I remember the figure, they were asked how they value evaluation on EU level comparing to national. I think that more than 90% said equal or better than on national level. So it's not so bad at all. But there are some programs which certainly would need to be looked at, and it is a living program. So from framework program 5, 6, 7, 8, we are going to better. We have, I think, introduced some novelties which are truly revolutionary. ERC, it's the major revolution which we have done.